Welcome here, everyone, to another exciting day of the Indiana Esports Network, where we are covering some amazing high school and middle school action. Here today, it is going to be High School Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, and I'm very excited to get underway. My name is Orbital, with me is Kaizo, and we will be your casters here today. Kaizo, how you doing?
I'm doing great, man. Anytime that we get to cast together and it's not 3 o'clock in the morning, it's always a good day, and that definitely adds at least one to that tally, so we're on the up and up. But totally right, we got some middle school and some high school Smash Bros. We're going to be starting out with, oh no, I'm going to do the thing, Columbia City High School Gold versus Lawrenceburg. We off-screen had a different name for the team on the left, so I'm hoping that's correct, but Orbital, I'm like 90% sure on that, so I think we're just gonna run with it.
Yes, it is Columbia City High School. We are looking at the 5-4 Eagles, which is very, very impressive because we are also looking at Lawrenceburg, who the varsity squad is sitting here at 5-4 as well. So in this Week 10 matchup, this is that big moment for them. This is a big moment for both schools to actually sit there and go, we can now take a lead in what could be a breakaway from a 50-50 stance to more of a 60-40, and that can mean a lot looking towards the future of the playoffs.
Yeah, definitely, especially when you're getting toward the latter stages of the format like this. As you said, we're in week number 10 here, so these teams each trying to go past that 500 point. Whoever wins here will be getting themselves pretty positive, whereas the loser will end up going even throughout week number 10. And only 2 weeks of play remaining. This is really when you need to start separating yourself from the competition if you want to begin to look toward the end of the season with a positive mentality and think that, playoff sort of thing, we actually have a shot at it, we can do this, and we're going to be the ones that people need to keep an eye on.
And while we're talking about this, I do want to give a big shout out to those who make all of this possible. If you enjoy watching a lot of these broadcasts and tuning in to the IEN, well, the reason for that is Zotac. Once again, we want to give a big shout out to Zotac Gaming for powering today's stream. Thanks to their incredible support, we're able to bring this type of broadcast to everyone that's tuning in right now, helping to showcase the amazing talent in the Scholastic esports scene. If you're watching and you see an amazing play, you want to go ahead and have some fun with the social media, go ahead and when you post that amazing moment, go ahead and put the hashtag powered by Zotac or hashtag Zotac USA, that is ZOTAC, and whenever you post, go ahead and just give them a tag. And again, we love to give a big shout out to one of the amazing sponsors that makes this all possible.
And they've also got, I did some investigative journalism on my own. They've got a Twitch as well, which is going to be the same as the hashtag that you just said. So that's at Zotac USA. If you've got a spare moment whenever we're not going on here with the Indiana Esports Network, give them a shout, tell them we sent you, and just make them feel happy, make them feel comfortable, because they're the ones helping us get all this going and making sure that all of these high school and middle school esports players have a place to play, and that we get to bring you the games, and that everybody gets to make this whole happy world go around.
Well, we're trying our best here, and of course, thank you once again to Zotac. But getting into crew battles, this is where things go a little bit interesting. Again, when it comes to crew battles, especially in a 5-4 setting, I'm always curious to see what characters and what fighters are actually going to be selected. When it comes to SSBU, there's a plethora, there is a huge range of fighters that you are able to pick up, and recently I was able to watch actually a pretty chaotic Smash Brothers event where we got to see Mii Fighter, which I haven't seen in I don't know how long of competitive. So the idea that the teams are still trying to figure out exactly how they want to play, and they're sitting at about 5-4, does speak to me that we might get some unique factors coming out.
Yeah, the meta for Ultimate has kind of shaken down at this point. I don't think we're going to be seeing any large-scale tier list shifts anytime soon, but it definitely does begin to give you a microcosm of the meta for each of these divisions, each of these regions of play, and you have to work with whatever works for you. So let's say if you don't have an Aegis player on your team, you don't just assign somebody Aegis because it's a good character. If you want to play Banjo and Kazooie, you want to play, I don't know, Ganondorf, as long as you're getting victories at the end of the day, that's all that really matters. I mean, God willing, you can get some victories on Ganondorf, but I've got my fingers crossed, heavy main over here, so I'm definitely supporting anybody that wants to bring out some of the big boys.
And at the end of the day, I like the fact that you talked about comfort. Comfort is great, but there are some realities that do have to be met. When it comes to crew battles, whoever you have open and whoever you have anchor are very important players. Namely, with the opening, you need someone that is going to fulfill, I want to say, one of two roles. First, it's going to be the role of flexibility. Whenever you are the opener, you have to be ready for just about any character that comes by, and you have to have the know-how and the knowledge and the fighter able to cover that. This is why we normally see things that are a little bit more skirmish heavy, that may not be a true heavy or a true light, but that have a lot of flexibility in the matchups that they go up against. If you throw out a Little Mac as your opener, you're going for the second option, which is surprise factor overall, and that in itself could be a strategy.
Yeah, I mean, you're not expecting Little Mac to come out swinging for either one of these teams, so if you got to face down against Mr. Punch himself, then it's definitely going to be a mental blow, we'll say. But I think that you're totally right. I'm usually looking at, for these career battle events, the top and the bottom of the list to see, I don't know if you could even see my second hand on the screen, but top and the bottom are usually where you're putting most of your attention, because you need somebody to give you a good, solid start. You never want to be the one that loses those first 3 stocks, then have the rest of the team have to come in and pick up, I don't want to say pick up the slack because it sounds wrong, and it's not really what I'm going for here, but essentially begin to develop some momentum that wasn't already created for you. And then at the bottom, whoever is your anchor, as you said, that's going to be your guy who you need to, when your back is against the wall and you're cornered and this is between a rock and a hard place, this is the person that you go to regardless of matchup. And that might be just one character, that might be multiple characters that they have to go through to get to that point. So I think flexibility is definitely key, not only in that starting position, but also in that anchor position as well, Orbital, because you never know what's going to be left and what you're going to have to deal with.
I will normally say, in terms of flexibility, I'd rather see in the opener than the anchor. Anchor, generally, I just want a specialist in general.
Okay.
The only reason I say that is because, yes, normally you have to be like, oh, we need to do this and this and this. But at that point, if you're at the bottom, your whole goal normally is just win. And at that point, it doesn't matter what matchup, you just want to have that specialist that knows that fighter at heart. At the opening, I want more general knowledge as well, right? If we're talking about, you know, general characters that are going to come out, you know, all these different types, you're more looking at conserving your own ability. Your main goal is to gain information and just try and stay alive while doing so. So I will say they do provide different roles, but granted, yes, they both need to have that same piece of the puzzle available to them. We are getting ready to get on in, as we can go ahead and see. We got CCHS on the left side of your screen, and we got Lawrenceburg on that right side, and we are going to try and keep eyes on who is who as we're getting in. Inkling makes sense. Inkling has been well known as a very nice opener. It's also a strong character, but a Dark Samus to come out here is a very different turn.
I'm a big Dark Samus enjoyer, man. I don't think that this character gets talked about nearly enough, because the movement capability that you have with some of the tech, I mean, if you're throwing in like B-reverse stuff and you're doing the fake out charge shot and all of the fancy stuff, you've got so much more movement tech than people will really give you credit for. And when you're starting out as the beginner or starter player on your crew battles team, that is when the information is at its lightest. You don't have anybody that's already been up against this player to tell you, here, you have to watch out for this, here's something, a gimmick that they have that you need to play around. It is just you and the person in front of you, and I think that Dark Samus thrives in that sort of scenario, and already off to a pretty solid lead here in the first round.
Not even that, getting a full charge shock blast means this Inkling is having a lot of struggles trying to take over the rest of this map. Now granted, Dark Samus I don't think has great finishers out here, has some strong damage output, but the only real smashes that we're going to see are side smashes. Aerials, I think the back here has a pretty nice hit, but other than that, it's got a down spike as well. But this is also why we're seeing that rack up again, as finally we do get the punch out, as I was talking about that back here, right before you touch down, brings the stock to a close.
Yeah, gotta be watching out for back air, not only from Dark Samus, but also Inkling, one of, I mean, not only one of Inkling's better buttons, but honestly, one of the better buttons in the game is Inkling back air, and he'll get a good berry there, mash out, barely in time for the Lawrenceburg side of the field, but with this Dark Samus already at 185, just about any stray hit should be able to do it here, Orbital. Fishing for a down smash, won't quite find it, and still somehow living that forward tilt. I mean, Dark Samus is is a bit of a pseudo-heavy character, but will definitely not be living through that up smash, and Hybrid manages to get the evener here for CCHS, but that charge shot to immediately strike back will have Lawrenceburg pretty firmly in the lead.
Very, very clean stuff here, and that's what I like to see. Main thing to talk about here is the fact that it's a full stock up. Remember, it doesn't matter if you're at 100 or 200, if that stock is still alive at the end of this round, you get to keep it moving into the next person, and that's what we're kind of hunting for. Of course, we don't know which player is exactly up right now on the Dark Samus, but they are doing work. Nice down smash by the Inkling, though, to clear space, try and roll out a little bit more, and so far it has been the Inkling all the way through. But again, that is the third full charge shot that we've seen landed, so 3 for 3 coming out of the Dark Samus.
And unfortunately for CCHS, they get the weak hit of the up smash there, won't be able to get it done. Unfortunately, does get caught by that forward air. Somehow manages to DI that one and stay alive with a wing and a prayer here. 120% on this Inkling. I mean, you said it yourself, a lot of these charge shots have been landing. One more will definitely clean it up. Up B still not quite going to be enough, but it's a large task ahead of you if you're CCHS to get back into this one, especially with this ledge trap scenario. Very good usage of those bombs on the ledge, but still somehow managed to fight their way back on stage. And the down air, that soft spot hitbox, will still manage to do it. So it's going to be Lawrenceburg taking the early lead here in this one. CCHS only managing to take one stock.
I mean, that is the huge part. With 2 stocks left means now Lawrenceburg is immediately off to a rough start. This is what we talked about when it comes to being the opener. You need to be able to adapt quickly, and you don't always have to be the most efficient player. You don't have to be like, I know my character inside and out, which we would like to see. But you need to have good identification of what combos will be coming out of the opponent. I mean, getting hit by 3 in a row, I want to say, full charge shots, it's not a good feeling. It's one of the slower projectiles out there, so letting a Dark Samus get away with that feels criminal to an extent.
You gotta learn to play around it, and definitely seeking to give that information over that they're fishing for some of those greedier options, not using it off of confirms, and instead just kind of throwing those one out. That might be why actually we're seeing the Falco come out here, something with a bit better air mobility, something that has that reflector available, doesn't have to worry about evading the charge shot, and instead could potentially send it going back the other way. This is a pretty Falco favored matchup, so you'd like to think that this would be a good time for CCHS to strike back, but Lawrenceburg definitely going to be tasked with keeping this momentum here and already landing the first hit and applying much more pressure than you'd really expect in this matchup.
I mean, Falcos are known to be very annoying fast. They can get right into your face in the aerial, the vertical combos that can come out. Very, very strong. I already love the forward air momentum, knowing that they watch the Dark Samus really like to take to the air, try and get some verticality in there as well. You're already challenging left and right, and you can see here struggling is that Dark Samus getting eaten up by these slow blows, and then also keeping in mind, if that reflector comes out against a full charge, it's a problem. A little bit too low to read, though, so that will be a stock right back, and already the Falco doing work.
All right. Oh, hang on. Here's the reflector, as we were just talking about. That's a clean 40% to start off this next stock. And an edge trap scenario here has been very effective with those bombs, but somehow gets the correct angle to make it back onto the stage. This Falco's looking very comfortable. I mean, it looked a little dicey there for a moment on the edge, but really only 36% taken, kind of smothering this Dark Samus, not letting her get back onto the stage and get comfortable. You can tell the mental damage was certainly dealt when that reflector landed on that full charge shot. That is a big chunk of damage going back in your direction, and was a critical component of what made them so effective against the Inkling. I think it might be a little bit of a matchup check here.
And this is what you like to see. We talked about the first and fourth players, the opener and closer. The second and third players for the teams are what we know as counter specialists, those that are able to kind of fight back and be utilized in strategic positions to get an advantage or to alleviate losses that might have happened earlier, which is what we're seeing right now. It feels like this Falco staying strong right now, really managing these stocks here, already forcing what looks to be a chance at 100% almost a reset. If you're able to take this last stock, all of a sudden you're golden, but that side B doesn't exactly land as neatly as you would like. Full charge, ready to go. But is it going to be there? No, it is going to be that back air from the Falco to go ahead and take the stock, and we're right back at net zero.
Sneaks in that back air just above the hurt box that Dark Samus was putting out, and manages to take away that stock. And as you said, evening things back out here is crucial for CCHS, especially considering you managed to make it out of that one unscathed, only taking a little bit of percent and managing to cling on to every last one of those stocks. That puts Lawrenceburg back to even, but honestly, Orbital, I think that CCHS is now in a little bit of a mental lead here, because momentum, a very real thing in esports, even something like Smash that doesn't have momentum that carries over in-game from game to game, the players are still keeping that mentality with them, and they are still using that momentum to their advantage. And I think that our Falco here for CCHS definitely feeling pretty confident regardless of what this next opponent's going to be. You already saw the inkling from Lawrenceburg, so the question is, what is it going to be this time around? The Falco looks good though, Orbital, I'm just gonna say it.
It really, really did, and maybe that's why they're taking a little bit longer. For CCHS, honestly, there's only a few characters, in my opinion, that can do very well against the Falco, and it really comes down to your individual play. Are you able to kind of power up in that range, or is it going to be kind of stuck in that same value? And one of those could be the Pokemon Trainer. Pokemon Trainer has a plethora of options, depending if you go the Squirtle early and then rotate into that Ivysaur and Charizard. It can do work. You just have to know who to use.
Yeah, PT not usually the pick that I would think of for a specific counter to Falco, so this definitely seems to me more of a, I am good at Pokemon Trainer, so I'm going to pull it out here, as opposed to, I want to play this matchup. I do think that this is probably fairly even. I mean, Falco typically only struggles against characters that have very good range, or that can edge trap him very effectively. I don't necessarily put PT in either of those two categories. I mean, maybe Ivysaur with that lingering down air off stage could be a bit of an issue, but at least in the early percent, that Squirtle should get the better of it up until you start to get really toward the kill percent when you need to swap to something a little bit heavier, get a little bit more survivability. For the time being, though, that's not even an issue.
You go ahead and take the advantages where you can. Of course, both players are taking these a little bit slow, I would say. Still trying to feel out exactly how far they want to go in this match, who they want to chase, and how they want to chase. Great forward airs to start things off. The Fairs always feel really, really good as a combo starter for a Squirtle, and once you reach about 60, 70, you start swapping out into the Ivysaur. But what a grab into the spike! And you love to see it, the Falco rocking supreme.
And manages to get that down air off stage, brings out a spike character of their own for Lawrenceburg here on the right side of your screen. That Ivysaur coming out, not actually swapping back to something that he had success with earlier. I think that that was more of a stray hit scenario than just a checkmate that the Falco's beating that Squirtle. Still sticking to that Ivysaur regardless. Ivysaur at these high mid percents is very effective at doing exactly that. Throwing out a random option that has a big ol' hitbox and will kill you from just about anywhere on the stage. And this Falco does certainly bleed. Lawrenceburg has proven that much. The question is, can you get out of this one alive and continue this success throughout the rest of the game?
I mean, my questions, of course, are leaning more into how quickly is a Falco going to take another stock. I don't think it's, wait around and find out, but it is going to be just that finish all the way around. Very nice up airs, though, coming out of the Ivysaur, just trying their best. For the PT, I mean, you're doing work. With the Ivysaur, you can get so much extra damage down. Granted, you don't want to change to the Charizard. I don't think Charizard has that strong of capabilities. Very powerful, but slow, and against a Falco, you're going to get run down. Right now, this is a challenge for who reaches 80 first, and who is going to be spiked into oblivion.
Usually only pulling out that Charizard for maybe a recovery if you need an iframe or something, if you need a little bit more verticality to get back on stage, or even if you need just a flare blitz, to get you all the way from the edge of the screen back up into the center. So sticking with that Ivysaur instead, which has looked very good, gotten a lot of mileage out of the up air, but now another juggle situation here. Manages to land with the aggressive option, but falls directly into that charged forward smash. And 100% on this Falco as the Charizard comes back out. This would definitely be where you would want to have Charizard, if at all. But the question is, can you land one of those meaty back airs, or just an up smash will do it?
I mean, it works. It works very, very well, but for right now, I like the swap. I was wondering when this was going to come out. Go ahead, swap back to the Squirtle. You try and fight as much as possible, but as you can see, the Falco immediately back on that offensive Squirtle. Very great at comboing, but very difficult to lay down extra damage. Nice little 4-piece, and you bring him up to about 36. Grab, though, out of smash, and that's almost a DI out, and that could be the wrong way. You almost go the wrong way as well, so both playing on the ledge, but both able to get back very safely.
I didn't think Squirtle could make that back, but somehow gets the Magnet Hands, and the fully charged down smash will land, but won't have the firepower to get the job done. Definitely gets him back in the percentage lead for the time being. And you can see CCHS starting to throw out some of those more aggressive options. Got a kill earlier on with that forward smash, trying to go for something much the same with a couple different options here. Another down smash, though, from Lawrenceburg gets them stage presence, but only for a moment. That down air into the back air combination, the signature trick of the Falco. And Lawrenceburg managed to hang on just barely, even though it was starting to look good for the PT.
I mean, it's not just that. Right now, 5 stocks for the Falco player. Very, very comfortable lead. And I have to say, he's done a great job of bringing us right back to a nice place to hold. Now we're looking at CCHS going, all right, what you got? Quite honestly, what do you have to play with? And also, I realize I am very, very mistaken. I believe we have the name swapped. That is actually Lawrenceburg. If I'm reading this correctly, Lawrenceburg are currently the ones down. As,
you got it.
I've been reading it wrong the whole way.
No. Well, hang on a second, because I swapped you up there at the last second. The last time that I said that, I flipped them, and then you trusted me, and then I dropped the ball. That's what happened here. Let's call a spade here, Orbital.
Oh, okay. Well, how's this? We'll figure this out and make sure we're good, because I want to know who's coming out on top on this one, right? Like 5 and 4 each. And this Falco, whoever they are, is playing out of their minds so far. I think the highest run that I've seen before is 9 or 10. I haven't seen a fully complete sweep before. We've come close to it. As Sephiroth being brought in, that is a wild checkup.
Yeah, that is, I didn't know that character was in this game, because frankly, nobody plays him at the competitive level. Shoutouts to Nairo MK. Pulls out the mid here, in what I would only assume can be one of Sephiroth's better matchups. Falco does not like playing around something with a bit more range. Sephiroth definitely can space him out and just outright outrange him with some of these back airs, some of those forward air pokes. But if you can get on top of Sephiroth, he is the perfect weight for you to be able to combo him. He definitely takes upwards of 40 to 50% if you can get a good up-tilt combination going. Question is, can you live long enough to get that done and avoid some of these heavy kill options from Sephiroth?
And I think you're already doing that. We haven't seen the lasers used that much by the Falco, and honestly, this is the right call to make. You go ahead and play far away, you get some extra laser damage down, and then you fight close quarters just like that. I like that play. Very, very nicely done. You go ahead and create space, but there is the counter that we were waiting for. Nice little blow. Brings them both back to 35%. Very, very clean job. And ooh, almost an SD there, but not going to happen here. Trying to use that side B to just create a little bit more space to play with.
And actually getting very close here is the Sephiroth. I thought that you'd play a little bit further away at about this range where you can't quite get chipped by any of those Falco aerials, and a fully charged Octaslash catches that illusion coming back and actually spikes him with another one, and spikes him off stage with the down air. What an incredible reversal from the Falco.
I mean, that's already good. You took 6 on your own. That's huge for you and your team right now. For CCHS, who are currently up right now in the stand, this could be massive. This could be a huge, indomitable blow, because again, that's what you like to see. This Falco is looking better and better as time goes on. Now rightly reading this counter to come out here, dodging a sword blow, and then dropping down, trying to get some extra damage, and gets the grab.
And the more I'm thinking about it, the more this should be a losing matchup for Falco, especially some of those offstage situations. But he's been very comfortable in the neutral, getting the better end of a lot of these initial interactions, even in the scrambles, just throwing out that back air and somehow picking up a kill. This is phenomenal here, Orbital. He definitely should, in theory, not be favored in this matchup, but he's getting it done either way, taking another stock and threatening to just clean sweep another player.
I mean, if this is clean, that's huge. All of a sudden, it's going to be CCHS who have the extra man, who has that extra ability to throw down with the best of them, and I think we're going to see it done. Great, great, perfect block, and now allowing with that center stage. We haven't even talked about how Town and City is working so well for this Falco player. Uses a bolt to slow down the fight, denying a follow-through strike. And all you need is one more good blow. 104 to 76. This could be the ender. But what a stab into the ground. This is the chance for the Sephiroth. That's the blow to finish. You extend the bleeding a little bit. But my God, did the Falco have a run.
I'm sorry. Just the side B into the Giga Flare was not something I expected to see there, especially with the way that Falco played around the Dark Samus with some of the charge shots. Even a couple of those side Bs manages to throw out the reflector there. Giga Flare is that's like a 3-second channel time Orbital, so I was thinking maybe, you know, throw out the reflector, get the clean sweep, walk away, and cool guys don't look at explosions kind of thing. But even, you know, even gods make mistakes sometimes, it would seem, and we will be losing out on that final stock for the Falco. So only one stock of this Sephiroth remaining as CCHS go to another character here, going to be the Luigi. Another matchup where Sephiroth can get smothered, but if you let him have some space, if you let him keep you off stage, can be a difficult one to deal with.
I mean, Luigi itself is just a polarizing figure, I think, in the scene. There used to be hilarious montages of the Melee days, right, of Luigi, which were great to watch. But the floatability and the chances to just get wild damage out, it was seen as a gag character for a very, very long time, but recently risen in prominence. And if you can play well, as you stated, it can bring a lot to the table here. So we're getting underway. Remember, after Sephiroth, there are going to be, I believe, there's one more player for the side of Lawrenceburg, if they can close this out or if they can fight back with that anchor. But already we're seeing a little bit of a stab in the damage department. Very quick extra damage, 50, aiming at 55. Just that sweet uppercut. I love the up tilts coming out of CCHS.
And something worth pointing out here for Lawrenceburg, because of the way that the wing works, that comeback mechanic for the Sephiroth actually gets it at 38%, because in the crew battle format, loading in one stock against 3, it's designed to be a comeback mechanic, and it is definitely doing that for him here. He gets a lot more time to play in that super soldier mode, gets that additional jump, some additional damage, and a lot more mobility, but he is mobile all the way up to that top blast zone, my friend. And Orbital, it was a fast one for this Lawrenceburg Luigi, but he gets it done in record time.
And that's, remember what I said about being a slight joke character? That's one of them. The extreme burn that comes out with the up B. It is a shining strike finisher, and it is just brutal to watch sometimes. So very, very clean job. Now we got to look at Lawrenceburg. Who is their last player and character? What are they going to play as well? Because I don't know what you can use. Keep in mind, we still have to see the anchor come out for CCHS. Still trying to decide who that is. But against Luigi, you can play a lot. You can play a fast character. You can play a heavy. You can play a projectile and probably get away with it. There's a lot of options, but it has to be good.
Yeah, I, once again, would probably lean toward a sword character being your best bet. Something like an Aegis, Lucina, something like that. Even, God help us all, even something like a Piranha Plant, just something that has some decent range on some of the attacks and can effectively space them out, but you also don't want to be a bulky character against Luigi. You saw the way that he started out that game trying to go for that 0 to death off of the down throw, and you really don't want to make it any easier for him. So if you have like a Pichu or something in the back just waiting to go and ready in the wings, that might not be the worst direction to go in here. Anything but, like, we'll say a Donkey Kong or a King K. Rool would probably be the direction you'd like to go in here. But ultimately, Orbital, it all comes down to what Lawrenceburg has left in the bag of tricks and what they are willing to pull out. It's gonna be this Palutena.
I would like to go back to your statement. Where is the sword on Piranha Plant?
They call him a sword character, man. I'm not making that up. That's just what they say about it. He's he's got a little bit of range on the Leafs, and Spargo plays him, so he's a sword character.
I don't like whatever you just said there, but we're getting into it right now. We are getting into a straight up 3v3 stock style. And that's all you got to play with. So let's see if the Palutena is able to bring a shine to this side of Lawrenceburg. But honestly, it's already starting out once again. This Luigi just looks so fast and annoying. Take a look at this. Chasing into a character like a Palutena who generally has great disengage tools, has great kind of area clears, has those wings to kind of breathe a lot of life. But so far being taken to town, finally gets a grab down.
And has center control for the minute. This would be opportunity for a couple of up air strings, which is definitely in the bag of tricks here for the Palutena on this stage, but jumps directly into the up B, point blank. That'll do it at mid percent, late percent, doesn't matter. And Town and City is not going to be very friendly to you if you get hit by a couple more of those. Now will be one stock already gone from this Palutena orbital, so with 2 stocks remaining, they got to take down 5 of these CCHS stocks.
Oh, I love that tech, by the way. This Luigi is, I'm fairly certain CCHS. They went from, I don't want to say weakest to strongest, but maybe rookie to most experienced. This Luigi is looking too clean. This Luigi is looking so good on how they want to play. They're looking in control, even though they're at 148. And they might lose the stock. They already got 31 down, which is a great starter bonus to have when you're already a stock up. This is looking amazing. Now back to center stage. You go ahead and watch. Trying to deal with those projectiles. Yeah, it's going to take a while, but a very nice hit coming out. Palutena able to clear that stock. Now has to fight back against 31%.
And using the back there, very smart, getting the intangibility and making sure that you don't end up trading there once you already have the enemy at kill percent. Very, very smart play here from the Palutena. Gonna need a couple more sequences like that if they want to make their way back in this one. A counter at 0. I mean, you're just fully not expecting that to come out if you're the Luigi, so credit where it's due to Lawrenceburg, definitely pulling out all the stops here, trying to mount this comeback, but once again, dash attack not safe on shield, gets immediately punished by that up B.
I want to point out that Luigi, whoever they are, actually baited that as well. For the last, 5 seconds, I think they were actively running and shielding. They were waiting for that bait moment. They called it out as soon as we reach about 50%, so very well done there. If the Palutena does not read that, once they reach higher percentage again, it's going to be a problem. 30 more, 35% more until we reach that threshold.
Just gotta watch out for that, among other things, and that spike, a couple more percent would have hit him in that bottom spike blast zone, but fortunately for this Palutena, a little bit more life here, teleporting back into the center stage and trying to find their way back through this neutral. Has to be careful, as you were saying, Orbital, about tapping that shield and getting punished by the up B. He's lost 2 stocks to it already, and this one has to go 4 more stocks for Lawrenceburg if they're going to make their way back into this one. Hybrid offstage here, CCHS, 1 more stock to do it. Question is, are you going to be able to punish it the same way? Doesn't get the up B, but the forward smash at least gives him an edge trap.
Oh, and just... you make such good use of it. Well done to CCHS. They clean house, only needed 3 players, and it's going to continue. I have to give them credit. The Falco and Luigi, so good as second and third. Honestly, we are giving a lot of praise to the opener and closers. We didn't even see the closer. CCHS made that first set look amazing.
They certainly did, and making it happen without even having to show us their anchor. Very, very impressive stuff, and a couple of star players to definitely point out. I mean, not only this Luigi, but don't forget about the effectiveness that Falco had previously, just swallowing up every stock in front of him. There's a couple of big question marks here for Lawrenceburg. And this is really that tipping point in the middle of the season, trending toward the end, where both of these teams 5-4. This is the deal breaker, Orbital. This demonstrates which one of these teams is capable of encountering this adversity, adapting to it, and moving forward. Which one of them will be falling to that 5-5 mark, being only even as we head toward the off season. Lawrenceburg, a lot good to talk about for sure, but momentum has certainly been on the side of Columbia City.
Yeah, I don't see it stopping anytime soon. Honestly, my only question is, are you opening with the Inkling again? Inkling looked like decent, I would say, not to the level of what we hope Inklings would be, but decent. Was able to hold down, was able to take, I think, a stock off of the Dark Samus, and I just don't see Lawrenceburg running the Dark Samus again, at least as an opener. I would rather have something like the PT maybe as an opener, but I mean, I also don't know where you slot into Dark Samus because I wouldn't want to see it in the 4th position.
Yeah, that's when you start to get into that mental battle here, as you can see both of these teams definitely communicating amongst themselves, trying to determine what the optimal loadout would be here. What order do you send your soldiers back into battle? Especially for Lawrenceburg, this could be a crucial moment to get this first stock, or excuse me, get this first set of 3 stocks, knock out one of these players and get a lead under yourself. That would be huge here to shift the tides of momentum in your favor. And it might be that Inkling, could be something completely different. We'll have to find out what these teams are going for, but either way, there's one thing that I know for sure, Orbital, and that's that we have a big thank you to give to LANFest for helping us build healthy communities throughout the gaming sphere with 23 chapters across 18 states, manifesting over 150 events a year. Thank you to LANFest for sponsoring our stream. You can find an event near you at lanfest.com. That is LANFEST.com. If you want to get involved in some esports, play in a couple of LANs of your own, maybe be one of these teams like Lawrenceburg or Columbia City that manages to make it to this stage of the game with a very optimistic look toward playoffs.
It's such a fun look as we're diving right back in. It is going to be the second set to come out here with CCHS currently up 1. We're going to have to wait and see exactly what characters are copping out here, and granted, we might not even see the same 4 play out from the side of Lawrenceburg. Keep in mind, once you go back to the new set, you can play whatever you want, and it is, I believe, going to be Zero Suit Samus to be brought out here. A little bit different showing, but it is going to be that PT, as we mentioned before. But yeah, that's the hybrid side. So this is actually CCHS. If this is their anchor player that they're putting in opener.
At least giving him a chance to demonstrate what he's got, or this could very well be as well, Orbital, just somebody making a character swap, maybe in anticipation of an adaptation coming out from Lawrenceburg. Either way, it's going to be Columbia City bringing out this Zero Suit, who falling in favor as, you know, Mars shifting away from that competitive play, moving toward content creation. He was sort of the flagship player for this character. Not a whole lot of representation at the top level, but that doesn't mean this character got any worse. Still a definite mid to high tier meta threat with a lot of good frame data, very non-linear recovery, whole lot of tools in the toolbox, especially that paralyzer and that up smash. Boost kick might have been able to do it on the Squirtle, but just racking up the damage where you can, not a bad look either.
Ooh, and actually chasing after that roll is very, very clean as well. And that should almost be that finish. The Squirtle is very, very light, able to float, and that means you are gone. Quick stock, hand it over to the Zero Suit, and now you got the Ivysaur out to play.
And that should fare a little bit better here, I think. You don't want to really scramble against the Zero Suit, something that can play at a bit of a longer range, but has to make sure you're avoiding these paralyzer shots, getting a lot of mileage out of that neutral B into, I like to call it neutral B into imagination, but hang on, gets sent to imagination land here, and somehow manages to get the swap off there into the Charizard. There's that recovery that we were mentioning earlier, is really all you see the Charizard for, and goes back to the Squirtle after making a big statement with the Ivysaur.
Very, very nice job. And again, as we talked about, use the Squirtle for the opening and then use the Ivysaur for a little bit more. However, you're still low in that stock count, and it's not, or in the stock percentage, and you need to be a little bit more heavy-handed in these fights. You can't be playing on the back foot. You need to get aggressive, or else this Zero Suit is going to wreck your shop. At the current moment, it is all Zero Suit. Samus playing off the ledge, making sure, but there's going to be the back heels, trying to do a little bit more work. Finally, you're at a good percentage, a little bit of up air, and no chance to recover, and that's freedom for the Zero Suit.
Unfortunate there. Looks like maybe a buffered air dodge, anticipating a tech situation, gets the wrong input because of the way that frame buffering works in Ultimate, so will end up losing the stock there, but doesn't mean can't still clean up one or even two more. Has an offstage chance against the Zero Suit, and an unforced error there, Orbital, will put us back to even as CCHS drop a stock here in the opener.
Oh man, you don't like to see that. I mean, in a crew battle, every stock is precious, so to lose it out like that feels bad, and all of a sudden, it is Lawrenceburg that have a chance to fight back, but unfortunately you hop right into the up smash, and that lasso causes so many problems. Multi-hit proc can finish as well if you get hit on the tip, and it's just a problem. A little bit of weight as you ride on in on the waves, but right now it is just going to be a chance for a grab. Quick setup with the forward airs. Are you going to continue? Not really.
Gets a good down tilt there for the Zero Suit, putting him back in advantage state and beginning to play around the Paralyzer again. Doesn't get the connection, still runs up with the up smash. Such a suffocating option for Zero Suit to deal with, and tries for the down smash 2-frame there. Can't quite get it, but still has to get back on the ledge. Couldn't grab it again for free, so does take some additional percentage. Edge trap continuing here as Jab pushes him back off the stage. Might need a swap to get your way back in, not allowing him back onto the stage. Same situation we saw before. Can't grab it for free, has to roll in, and Power Whip is waiting for you. CCHS managed to take the third stock, move forward with one final Zero Suit stock remaining.
Would have been two. It would have been two, but
yeah.
It could have been two. And of course, I like the fact that it is only one mistake and you're able to recover. If you make a mistake and you let it get to your mental, that's where things kind of go sideways. So I'm very, very proud and happy to see the Zero Suit be able to climb back. They were in control for a majority share of that game anyways. So to continue that is very, very good in its own. Now, the question is, we just got the PT once again, looking at a Dark Samus, a Sephiroth, and a Palutena. These are the three that are currently available unless it's shaken out. But if I'm taking a look at things, I would try and send out the Dark Samus, see if you can finish off this stock, and it is. It is going to be that Dark Samus. It had a reliable opening game. Let's see if you can finish it off.
Yeah, I think the Dark Samus is a good call here, because like you said earlier, this isn't really a counterpick style character. It's really just one that you throw out when it just feels right, or at least it doesn't feel wrong. And something like the Sephiroth, the Palutena, can be something that you want to play around when the Falco comes back out, maybe send the Sephiroth back out to meet it, or even save that Palutena for a time that you might need a reflector of your own. I think that very good, very smart decision here to go to the Samus versus Samus battle in, you know, the clothed form with the dark the goth clothes. I'm trying to make a joke out of this, and it's just not working, man.
We're trying our best, just as we're seeing the Zero Suit try their best to take a stock back of their own and just continue their run of 3. I mean, right now you're controlling the stage quite well, but of course, going to small battlefield, this is another stage that just I always feel causes some problems, or battlefield, I should say. Going to be a full charge blast, not going to land, and all of a sudden the positions are reversed. Keep in mind that laser can do some punishing action. As a nice hop up, the float of Dark Samus will keep you up and high, but 106 on that percentage will be a problem. One good hit could end that stock.
And Paralyzer trading there with the side B, pops him up into the air. Question is, can you get the finisher? Won't be able to land that up smash, so instead just forces the offstage scenario again. Really liking that down smash in those ledge trap scenarios. Not getting a whole lot of cash for it, but still fishing for it each time. Would be a punishing one to get hit by. Run back power up here as LHS having to get back on the stage. One more stock, and they could be done with this Zero Suit Samus. But the berry into... Oh no, he misses the up smash. Goes for the up smash instead of the guaranteed boost kick. Manages to get it the second time around, but man, that was getting a little nerve-wracking there.
That would have been funny. Honestly, if that was a miss and then the stock was over. Oh no! Oh no, another unfortunate error coming out, as right now Lawrenceburg basically give a respect stock back.
Yeah, that's another input buffering situation. You could tell, thought that he grabbed the ledge, tried to roll back onto the stage, but instead input went in as a buffered air dodge and loses the stock at 26. They're very, Unfortunate stuff for Lawrenceburg, who were already in a bit of a rut here to begin with, and now spiked off stage. Doesn't quite have the damage to do it, but still in a bad situation. And the struggle is big and goes for the disrespect down there. 145% will live to see another day and takes down a second fighter here away from Lawrenceburg.
I mean, you gotta take advantage where you can, and taking advantage of that last stock, of the stock that was given, plus the stock finish. Very, very nice job. At this point, Zero Suit has cleaned through 2 players. 6 stocks remain for the side of Lawrenceburg, and it's looking like an unfortunate done deal. I don't want to call it here, though, because we could see some magic. But what do you have remaining? Yeah, the Sephiroth and the Palutena. These are not awesome options.
No, it's well, I mean, literally, it is the same situation you were just in, with the exception being now you don't have the Dark Samus as an option due to some of those unfortunate circumstances that took place in that game. If I had to pick between the two of them, man, I mean, maybe just go to this Sephiroth right now, try to catch him with the stray back air at mid%, try to take away the stock very early on, because this Zero Suit is looking quite heated up, playing with some of that momentum, kind of rolling downhill on this pick, and you wouldn't want to have to scrap in neutral with it if you don't have to. Palutena, I think, would have to get just a little bit too close, but instead a complete change here. It's going to be the Joker is going to be the selection here for Lawrenceburg, with their back against the wall to take down this last stock from the Zero Suit.
All right, I like this. A lot heavier on the damage output, in my opinion, much faster as well. And you stack up that secondary form, you get extra damage on top, you get a little bit longer range on the get back. There is so much more to the Joker pickup here than I think we were really expecting. We were setting up for the Sephiroth with the Palutena. So I like what we're seeing here. Nice exchange. Let's see if it pays out, though.
It does have a lot better recovery. Once you get that IHSEN, has that intangibility on the up B, so a lot of those ledge traps that CCHS were trying to go for won't be able to land on the at least the IHSEN version of some of those recoveries. Question is, do you get gimmicked before then? Because Zero Suit definitely has enough of those going around. Beginning to throw out the Rebels card, really hungry to get this IHSEN orbital. Finally gets it out here. He's going to need a big payoff on this one if it's going to make up for the damage that you had to take to get there.
Yeah, you took, what, 40% just to reach here? And already you're losing out on that damage percentage. This is wild stuff. And that's just a straight-up error once again. You had plenty of time to recover, and you just weren't able to. So that's another stock. 7 total for the Zero Suit.
Man, maybe an accidental, like a ledge slip that he was going for into an IDJ and just couldn't quite get it, but whatever the option was supposed to be, you have to assume that wasn't it. Instead, he has 26% on his name, already having lost that first stock. Does have IHSEN in the back pocket, though, due to come out in just a moment. A back air at just about anywhere but central stage will do it on Zero Suit at this percentage. If you can tick over to that IHSEN without getting buried here again, same situation as we saw before. Question is, can you manage to land a solid hit? Gets the soft spot down air, and now off stage again. This is tricky.
It really is, but honestly, the Zero Suit is playing it so well. What a chance and what an attempt by the Joker to try and fight off that ledge. And I appreciate it so much. You need just one more good hit, not a tilt hit. You need a punish. You need a finish if you can. An attempt to read the roll, what a stomp, and you would have gotten an 8th stock, but unfortunately the fall was big. So, Zero Suit went for the Hail Mary, but still got 7 total.
Man, I don't know, man. Like, I was all Team Falco in game number 1, but this Zero Suit has definitely won my heart. I mean, going for the down air in the previous game in the previous match, how would I even reference that? Playing against a different character, we'll just say. Going for the down air when they were already guaranteed done into the bottom blast zone, and then going for what would have definitely killed if they got the spike hitbox on that down air. I mean, you're for sure losing your stock for that if you're the Zero Suit, but you have done more than enough work to make up for what you would be leaving left on the table for the rest of the CCHS team. And now Lawrenceburg are finally the ones with a character remaining. It's going to be CCHS to make the counter pick here, but I'm going to be honest, Orbital, this is looking rough for Lawrenceburg. They have a mountain to climb in front of them.
Oh, what is this? Are we getting a full brand new rotation of characters? We got a Cloud to come out here, the battle of the protagonists in their own stories. I love it. I love it to everywhere and back.
It's going to be a high tier versus, mid-high tier, depending on who you're asking. A couple people say that maybe this is a top-tier character for Cloud, but that's just Cope. Spargo's just better than you. You're just going to have to accept that. And you might just have to accept for Lawrenceburg that this is going to be a challenging battle back in here, especially against something like the Cloud that can just delete some of these stocks with a limit break cross slash, with some of these finishing touches. You have to be very careful, even when you've got the IHSEN on deck.
Well, not only that, I would say this is also a much faster paced round. I don't know if you've noticed, but both these players seemingly have gotten much more speed under their wings. They're being more aggressive. They're stepping up towards these battles at a much faster rate. And that's why they're both sitting at about 90 to 100, less than a minute into this round. Like, this is a wild turn, and I really, really like it.
Both characters...
I mean, the Cloud is just going crazy, if you will.
Both characters have already glowed blue here in this one, and it's going to take a while for Cloud to get his comeback potential back. But with that successful Rebels guard, already LHS have the IHSEN just one hit away, and that up smash is a perfect time for that Joker to get that IHSEN online and start to dish out some of the damage, but he pokes that shield Orbital. We've seen a lot of kills go down from just tapping a shield a little bit too hard and getting punished on it on that one.
Yep, now a grab on top. As I was looking at a spike option right there, the Cloud was like, yeah, please give it to me.
Good
I
grab.
want to go ahead and finish you off immediately, and you can play off the ledge again if you so wish. Now a chance slash in the neutral, nothing really gained though, as the Joker is just playing on low end, just waiting for about half their meter to fill back up. But you're going to go ahead and chase off stage, and unfortunately it's a really dangerous spot, but back ends on either end means you got to hang on for dear life before you're going to get IHSEN.
I like the idea of going off there. One of the few weaknesses that Cloud does have is when you get him off stage, and you're going to need some of those early kills, especially with the lead that Lawrenceburg's got to deal with. And man, CCHS are not going to make it easy, barely getting the very tippy top of that forward smash hitbox, getting a very early kill on that Joker and taking away the final stock. Lawrenceburg backed up against the corner here, Orbital. They have got... I said a mountain to climb, but it's feeling like even more than that now, so I believe they're down to their final player in this one.
Final chance. This is the moment that you and I would be sitting there going, it's reverse sweep time, right?
Oh, yeah.
We'd be sitting there going, let's get that reverse sweep. Let's roll on in and cruise. And I'm sitting here going, I don't know if it's going to happen, but if it does, I will be wholly surprised. I wonder what character is going to come out. Again, the Sephiroth and the Palutena could be available, but I don't know which is which, unfortunately, and which one we removed.
Yeah, that's a good point. So only one of those two are going to be remaining here for Lawrenceburg. It's not much of a decision so much as what you have left available, what resources you've managed to guard up until this point. And CCHS, only one final fighter in front of them to make their way to that 6-4 standing, and drop Lawrenceburg down to 5-5. It's going to be the Palutena as the last bastion for Lawrenceburg.
And honestly, I would love to see these players step up into the collegiate stage as well. And if you're interested in getting into esports in college, please go ahead and check out LOS Portal or League OS Portal. They have amazing options. If you just go ahead and take a look at portal.leagueos.gg and search, IEN students can also sign in to manage their own prospect profiles and do so for free. So make sure to not miss your chance to get discovered. Visit portal.leagueos.gg today and take your game to the next level, just like this Palutena is hoping to do today.
They're gonna have to do right here today. So we get a mid-battle, mid-tiers on either side. Shoutouts once again to Mr. Nairo MK as we get the Cloud versus the Palutena. I do think that this is an even matchup. If anything, I'd have to assume that Cloud is very, very slightly favored, but if you get him off stage, I mean, Palutena, an excellent character at these edge guards, especially on something with a linear exploitable recovery like this Cloud. But to even talk about that Orbital, I mean, you've got to land enough hits to get him off stage, and another forward smash. This Cloud is so comfortable.
I am wondering how deep the roster of CCHS goes, and I want to know if these are separate players, if these are different players, because I believe they only have listed 4 players total on their rosters. So if I'm led to believe, it shows the depth and versatility of the players themselves as you read the get up roll and deny any further as the Cloud claims the first stock.
A beautiful dash back forward tilt there. Such an underrated ledge option. Definitely getting successful ledge trap there. Glowing blue once again. Cross slash wouldn't do it at this percent, but pretty darn close, and managing to hang on to that limit off stage. Goes for the cross slash, can't land that one. So we'll end up having to fight on even footing without that boof. No super soldier mode available for this Cloud. About 112% on him. A smash will do it from Palutena, getting very close to back air percent, but not quite just yet. Has to avoid some of these up smashes. He's just throwing them out.
He's not only that, he's chasing and throwing them out. These are huge hit-like boxes, but you've already obtained the fact that you are in control, and the Palutena will do no extra damage. Sitting on 112, but staying at 112 for what feels like the last stock, and it looks like he wanted to reset to go back to 0-0.
Hey man, it's all about sportsmanship out here, and it's all about getting a good end product to get to show to our viewers. And it seems like Lawrenceburg and CCHS are both aware of that as well. We've got a show for you here. It's going all the way down to the last stock, at least between these two fighters. It's going to be CCHS tasked with this final stock of Lawrenceburg, standing between them going into week number 10 at that 6-4 rate. And the finishing touch, could you script it any better? The final blow dealt by the appropriately named ability there from Cloud. And Columbia City High School Orbital are going to be your champions of week number 10, and they will be advancing to 6-4.
Destructive work to come out. We had some questions to start, right? We had some questions to start. We were sitting there going, hey, I wonder how well this is going to go, especially since the Dark Samus actually looked good against the Inkling. It came down to the wire, and we really enjoyed that. And then they basically leaned forward in their chairs. CCHS said, yeah, we're going to take this seriously. Decided to roll through the next few matches, and it makes me wholly impressed. Very, very nice job. I'm excited to see more of them. And honestly, if you're looking at Lawrenceburg, what do you take away from this match? Because you went through a cycle of characters as well, but nothing really seemed to find purchase.
I think that the biggest takeaway here, if you're Lawrenceburg and you're one of the coaches watching back the VOD, has to be cleaning up some of the unforced errors, because a lot of the scrapping, the neutral, the scramble situations, they weren't getting the worst end of those trades more often than not. I mean, it really felt like could have gone either way in a lot of those interactions. It was the offstage scenarios when you're getting ledge trapped, falling into the same traps repeatedly, getting hit by the charge shot when it's fully charged up. I mean, these are things that you can use brain power as opposed to thumb power to try to avoid those sorts of situations. And I think that if you're the coach for Lawrenceburg going in, you're going to be 5-5 going into week 10. That is totally fine. 500 is a very serviceable line to be working with. These are the sorts of things that you need to be cleaning up if you want to go toward week 12, finish out strong, and have a shot at those playoffs.
It's such a narrow line that you're currently riding because you need the points to line on up, but honestly, it was a fantastic match to watch. Once again, congratulations, CCHS, and that will be their victory. Moving on to 6-4 in this season, and I could not be prouder. Quite honestly, Kaizo, it has been a blast working with you here today, and it's been a blast also working with the rest of the production team. We got Zotac Gaming to shout out, as well as Landfest and LOS Portal, of course, giving all the love in the world to them for making this possible. Huge shout out to our production crew in the backside. Before I forget, it is, of course, we got, man, my brain, everything is not working for me here today. We got, help, Mobug, as well as Connie, running our production side. I could not. My brain is so lost. And then, of course, my name is Orbital. With me is Kaizo, and we will see you all tomorrow for more IEN action.
that was a whole